Leo, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's get started and see what messages we have for Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions for the week ahead, keeping in mind that these are general readings and may not resonate for everyone. So make sure to check out your other placements to receive your full, complete picture. And if you've been interested in receiving a personal reading, have a look at the description below. I am offering a promotion for the month of May. So it is a good time to get a reading if you've been interested in one. All right, my friends, let's get started. For Leo, what is the current energy around Leo for the week ahead? All right, two cards coming out, Ace of Wands and Six of Cups in reverse. So this is interesting. This feels like there's a potential new beginning from you, and you know, we'll keep pulling cards to see, but there's something from the past that could be either coming back as a new opportunity or interfering with a new opportunity. We'll see which it is, but it almost feels like it's a past opportunity coming back, Leo. It feels to me like something from the past that you may have thought was sort of done and over with has returned. And it's something that you may have had an emotional attachment to in the past. So it's not, not anything from the past. It's something specific that you have sort of a connection with emotionally, and it feels like you may have thought that, well, that's finished, or that's a missed opportunity, or that's that, I guess, you know what I mean? And now it seems to be returning in the form of a new opportunity, a new potential, right? Like it's back. It's interesting. Okay, let's see here. What is the obstacle for this new opportunity, this new potential coming back from the past? Ooh, that fell on the floor. Let me just grab that. Okay, so the obstacle is the Two of Swords. This makes sense. This feels like the obstacle is, should I let this come back or should I not let this come back? This, could represent you just moving ahead and forgetting about the past, or you sort of entertaining the idea that this is bringing up. There's a potential here. And, Leo, it's interesting. It almost feels like you're going to have to make a choice about whether or not you want this back or not. And that it will be up to you to decide. Seeing the King of Swords on the bottom of the deck makes me feel like this is something that you'll sort of have to weigh out and see how you, see what you think about this situation. What is your perception of this past situation? Are you able to see yourself sort of restarting something up from the past, or are you sort of, is your mind made up, right? When I see that King of Swords. Let's see here. What is top of mind for Leo right now? Ooh, Seven of Swords. So there's a part of you that's like, something about this doesn't seem like it's completely transparent, or you may be thinking to yourself, like you may be sort of coming up with an automatic no, and that could be a little bit of self-deception here, because perhaps there is a part of you that wants to entertain this, but you're sort of shutting the door on it before you can do that. It's interesting, Ace of Swords on the bottom of the deck. So it really feels like there could be a fresh way of looking at this. A fresh perspective may sort of create space, but it's interesting. Seeing that Seven of Swords is setting off a few red flags to me, sort of making me wonder, well, is this a case that you don't trust this situation if it comes back, or are you sort of thinking you don't trust yourself to make a decision around this because of the emotional attachment? Are you denying your true feelings? Are you denying the possibility that this could have a second chance? It's interesting. Let's see what's at the root of all of this. What's at the root of all of this? Okay. Ten of Wands. Okay, so that makes me feel like you've reached a point, either in general or with this specific situation, where it was a tricky ending in the sense that it may have felt like a lot of pressure or a lot of burden, obligation, responsibility. This may have been a time that you're like, I wouldn't touch this again with a 10-foot pole. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's interesting because it sort of feels like that's your frame of reference, is that you're looking at this and thinking, man, but that was such an exhausting thing to be a part of, or that was such a difficult part of my life. Even though I was attached emotionally to this outcome, it may have felt like it was an incredible burden for you to carry. And so you may be denying it to yourself that this is something that could come back because of how it made you feel when it was going on. So there is something here that came to a close at some point, and it may have felt like a burden or a lot of pressure. There may have been a lot of expectations and obligations to fulfill, and you just maybe can't see yourself going back to this. Seeing another ace here. This is your third ace, Ace of Pentacles now on the bottom of the deck. So it feels like there is something about this in the way of bringing it back into the present where you're hesitating. You're hesitating and you're not like going after it right away. You know, there's a part of you that's like, oh, geez, I don't know. You know what I mean? Wow. Okay, let's see what the past influences in this situation are. What are the past influences? Let's shuffle again. Influences here. King of Cups in reverse. So in the past, this situation may have felt really dramatic, really emotionally overwhelming, really overwhelming on your sense of will as well. When I see that 10 of Wands, like it put a lot of pressure on you. It felt overwhelming emotionally. And it's sort of, you got sucked into a lot of drama in this situation in the past. And so no wonder you're not really wanting to jump back into it. I can see how you might, you know, there must have been something about it because you haven't said no yet. You know, it's like you're considering it. And there's a part of you that may be, you know, weighing things out on both sides. But it feels like in the past it was very emotionally draining when I see the King of Cups in reverse. And it may have involved a person who was emotionally draining. And the whole experience may have felt like a lot of pressure and a lot of like, just pressure is the word coming to mind. And I'm feeling a heaviness on my shoulders and sort of this antsy feeling in my energy. So it's interesting. It's sort of like a not relaxed, not a smooth situation. It feels like it put pressure on you emotionally, physically, mentally, and you know, it just feels like you. I guess what I'm thinking is, why are you still considering this if that's how it made you feel? The only thing I can see here is that there was an emotional attachment to it. So the individuals involved there was something about them or the experience with them that you were attached to. Let's see what the upcoming influences are here. Oh, there's a few cards. So there's the Ace of Pentacles. It's back with the 9 of Cups in reverse and the 9 of Pentacles in reverse. So 2 9s and an ace, both 9s and the ace in reverse. So what this says to me is that in the upcoming future, you may start to look at this situation as being not satisfying and being disempowering, right? With that 9 of Cups, it feels like there's no joy for you in this. There's no joy for you if that 9 of Cups is in reverse. 9 of Pentacles in reverse tells me that it's not empowering you. This situation isn't one that makes you feel empowered. If anything, it's like you're giving your power away when you're in this situation. And there almost feels like there's so much pressure on you to provide or perform, or, you know, yeah, it just feels like it's very disempowering situation for you, and it brings you no joy. And you know, that Ace of Pentacles in reverse makes me feel like there's a need to create a foundation for yourself that isn't involved in this situation, that your goals and intentions are actually elsewhere. So getting involved in this again in the upcoming future feels like it will feel unsatisfying and like you're giving your power away, and maybe doing something out of obligation instead of out of really wanting to do it. And we see the Page of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck in reverse, which shows me that you may procrastinate or delay giving your response. You know, pages are messengers, and so it makes me feel like you may put off this decision for as long as you can, or delay responding to messages on this situation. You know, for some of you, this may have been a relationship and someone is trying to get a hold of you, or it might have been a job that you did in the past that felt really overwhelming and draining, and moving forward, you're sort of like, why would I want to get involved in this again? It is back though. Like, it does feel like it's back for a reason. It might be back to see what you'll do. You know, sometimes things come back just to test us a little bit to see, will we do this again or not? You know, I wonder what motivated you originally. It kind of feels like that emotional attachment was motivating. And that maybe in the past, beyond this King of Cups, it did bring you joy. But finishing my shuffling, I see the Three of Swords on the bottom of the deck. So ultimately, it was good for you to separate from this situation. So going back to it, I don't know. It's going to be up to you with that Two of Swords, but it doesn't feel like you're being guided to return to this through the reading. Let's see where you find yourself right now, Leo. How does Leo find themselves right now? There's the fourth ace. You've seen them all now. Every ace is here. So you're on the path of starting new beginnings and closing out chapters from the past. And it's like, there's that Page of Swords where it's sort of like, there's this idea of a new way of sort of looking at things. And maybe there's signs pointing you towards this already, that, you know, you're on your way somewhere else. So going backwards isn't necessarily where you see yourself. Seeing the Four of Swords tells me that you've recovered from something, and it may be this, that you actually did bring closure to it and you've recovered from it. So going back to it feels almost like a step backwards. But if you decide to go back to it, just make sure that you feel like you can set some different boundaries, maybe, you know, like for those of you who are thinking, yeah, I know it wasn't the best, but I do feel like I want to try this again, then maybe you need different boundaries. Maybe you need to sort of approach things in a different way so you don't get the same outcome as you did, where you felt drained and overwhelmed. Perhaps new boundaries would help. That Page of Swords makes me feel like you're sort of on a new path though. Like with all the aces I'm seeing and this Page of Swords, it makes me feel like you're sort of unpacking something new in your experience right now. You may be studying something new. That Page of Swords sometimes reminds me of being a student again, like starting from the beginning and learning something new. So you may have changed gears completely away from whatever this was, and you're sort of like, well, I'm already invested in this, so I don't have space for both. And I feel like you've settled a little bit, like your mind has settled down in a recovery way, not in terms of settling with options, but you've become in a place of recovery from whatever this is. And isn't it interesting how when we recover from something, sometimes it just shows up again? You know, it almost feels like a test. Let's see how you're coming across outwardly. Ooh, as the Magician. So I love that. That says to me that other people see you as being in your power and feeling like you're the narrator of your own story, and that you're sort of carrying this main character energy where you're the star of your movie right now. You know what I mean? And you've got all the tools to make whatever you want happen. So you're very attractive to other people. So this could be a situation where you've leveled up since a situation ended, and you're very attractive. So People are like, oh, I wonder if Leo is available for this project, or I wonder if Leo's interested in starting up this relationship again, or I wonder if Leo would consider this opportunity again. And they're just so skilled and they're the best. And so we want to get Leo involved. So I feel like people see you as very attractive right now, Leo, and they want you on their team. They want you maybe to lead the team. They want you to be involved with them again in some way. So this, again, take it as it resonates. It could be a past relationship, a past opportunity, something that holds an emotional connection for you, seems to be on its way back and wanting you to be involved again. Let's see, what are the hopes and fears around this for Leo? Okay, 8 of Wands and the 6 of Pentacles. So that's interesting, actually, because it really does reflect sort of a hope and a fear. There seems to be this fast-moving energy coming towards you with an offer. So there's something about that that's exciting to you, but it feels to me like seeing the 6 of Pentacles in reverse is almost like, remember, this is a one-way street. Like, remember what it was like to be involved in this situation. It was out of balance. And maybe you found yourself out of balance when you were involved in this. Like, you weren't able to stay grounded, or you weren't able to set those boundaries, right? And you may have been giving to something and feeling maybe like you weren't receiving anything back, or that it was a one-way highway. Like, you didn't really have the ability to stay in your own alignment, in your own balance. There may have been too many demands on you. So that might be your fear. There's a part of you that's like, this opportunity is coming back. Maybe it wasn't so bad. I almost feel like this could be you sort of looking at things from one-sided perspective, right? To say, maybe you're just looking at the positives and you're not remembering how out of balance things were when you were involved in this in the first place, and how draining it was, and how it was so heavy of a burden on your back, Leo. So it feels like your hopes and fears are sort of revolving around whether or not to get involved in this again. And the way you're approaching it is almost like, sometimes you look at it and you think of just the positives, and sometimes you look at it objectively and you're like, oh no, but I remember being like so exhausted or so out of balance and so frustrated with the lack of harmony and a lack of cooperation almost is coming to mind. Seeing the 9 of Wands on the bottom of the deck, which tells me that you were really close to burning out in this situation. So that might be a big part of why you're like, oh, I don't know, I'm really burnt out. But there was something about it that created a bond. So it's very interesting. It makes me wonder if, you have to leave me some comments and let me know if this was a relationship or a job or some kind of experience that had a lot of ups and downs, but enough ups that you're considering it. There was something about this that was attractive to you. Let's see what the potential outcome of this scenario is for Leo. Interesting. It's your card. Strength is Leo, and it's in reverse. So the outcome here is that, to me, I'm seeing this, that it will sort of disempower you again if you get involved. Let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. It's the 2 of Wands. So again, it's your choice. It's totally up to you, Leo. You're going to get to make this decision. But from what I'm seeing, we're going to pull an oracle card to be sure. But from what I'm seeing in your reading so far, it feels like seeing strength in reverse means to me you will feel like a little bit of blocked if you get involved in this. And you might start to be like, I should have exercised more control over this decision. And it might turn into sort of a self-destructive situation. So that's not really encouraging me to encourage you to get involved in this again. Seeing strength in reverse almost makes me feel like you have to really have mindful awareness before you get involved in this. Okay? Like, you may really have to stand strong in your resolve to set clear boundaries, that if crossed, you have an exit strategy. Like I'm almost feeling like if this is let's say a work opportunity or a contract or some kind of project that you're being pulled into again, you're going to need to really have some strong boundaries in place so that you don't burn out again through this and feel so out of balance. Like I think that you are very attractive right now because of your leadership skills, but at the same time, as good of a leader as you are, Leo, and as sort of your level of influence here seems to be the highlight. Like you're very attractive right now to whoever is coming back from the past to talk to you. And so if you're going to go down this road again, I feel like you have to sort of really consider how it made you feel in the first place. This Two of Wands makes me feel like seeing it in reverse on the bottom of the deck is a signal that, you know, you may choose this out of feeling like there's nothing else for you to choose. And that doesn't feel like it's a good enough reason. Like if you're taking this out of a place of sort of feeling like, well, a little bit desperation, like if that's your intention and motivation, it almost feels like it might not be the right move for you at this time. But if you've got things in place that will sort of shift how it went last time, maybe with some stronger boundaries, maybe with a clearer contract, if it is like a position or an opportunity that's like a project or work based, maybe if you lay out terms in a different way, it will have a different outcome. But I don't know, it doesn't feel very encouraging to get involved in this again. Let's see, what is the highest guidance for Leo on this situation? Highest guidance for Leo here. Okay, these two cards. Anything else? Okay. So what I'm seeing here, this first card came out. Okay, so this Breathe card, when it shows up in the reverse, is sort of like a card that suggests to shake off this energy that says that, almost to shake off this energy that is doubting yourself. This isn't about you doubting yourself. And if it's coming through that way for you, like when you look at this and you're thinking, I doubt I'll be able to fulfill this again, it's almost like this card is saying that's not it. It's not about you doubting yourself. It's actually about you acknowledging the truth about this situation. And the truth of this situation appears to be that it was very draining, overwhelming, out of balance, and it isn't in the future energy showing me that you'll be satisfied. So those are the reasons to really look at this. Seeing this Yang card in reverse makes me feel like this is like the Ace of Wands, which started this reading. So seeing it in the reverse in terms of what the highest guidance is for you makes me feel like this is not your opportunity anymore. And, you know, it's interesting because it sort of feels like it was something that at one time did resonate for you. But now it just feels like you would be taking it in a way almost because you feel like there's nothing else for you to get involved in right now. And so it's almost like it's better than nothing energy. And this card, when it shows up in the reverse, really gives us this message of be sure you really want what you're saying yes to, because, you know, you might be sorry once you do. So that's such an interesting way to close this reading, is that be careful what you say yes to, because you may end up doing something that you have done already and found it very draining and overwhelming and too much pressure, and it just felt like it wasn't your bag anymore, you know? I'm going to leave it at that, Leo. So just be careful with what you decide to say yes to, and really look at why you're saying yes before you do. If you decide to say yes, really look at this objectively. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much, Leo, for joining me for this reading. I hope it's been helpful, and I'm looking forward to reading for you again soon, my friends. Take care. Sending you so much love.